Welcome back, everybody, to Make Your Good Business Great. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Deborah Evington, and she's from Faces and Figures. And the best thing about Deborah is she's going to talk to us about our bookkeeping, staying afloat, getting our cash flow organised, and everything else along those lines, which is obviously so important when it comes to running our businesses. So welcome, Deborah. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for the lovely introduction. It's lovely to be here.
Oh, it's terrific to have you here. I'm actually busting at the bit because bookkeeping has always been the bane of my life. And I know that you're going to... I hate it. I've actually grown up and I now have a bookkeeper, and my husband is so happy because I don't cry every 3 months.
That's a happy story. Yes, yes.
Bookkeepers make the world go round, I say.
Oh, that's sweet. We certainly do our best, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Deborah, tell us a little bit about your business and the clients that you serve.
Okay, well, Figures and Faces is a modest practice based in the southwestern suburbs of Sydney. I started it as a sole trader. I was a sole parent at the time, back in 2001, and it built gradually over the last 15 or so years purely on referrals. Started with one client through an advertisement in the local paper, and instead of becoming an employee there, I became a contractor instead because of my single mum status, etc. And basically from there it grew. The kind of businesses we serve, we've seen a lot of mainly sole trader. At the beginning, it was mainly sole trader clients. Trades, transport industry. We've got a client in the arts, real estate, small to medium businesses. And most of them, as I say, have come from referrals because they've been in a mess. Yeah. And that's a mess they've made either themselves or they've actually had someone else involved in their book, like a bookkeeper that wasn't actually officially qualified, or their wife or, girlfriend or husband or whatever. And
yes.
And so we kind of get called in. I built a reputation of helping people rescue jobs, and then it's expanded into BAS compliance training now. So I'm focusing a lot more on the BAS side of things.
It sounds a lot like you're the rescuer.
Yeah, and it's great because I love that. I love restoring order. I love taking the chaos that is surrounding that kind of thing, that aspect of business. Yeah. And I see it because I love that stuff. Absolutely love it. And it's not, as you say, I know, right, weirdo. One of my clients calls me nut jobs. Hello. I'm affectionately known. Oh, hi, nut jobs. But the beautiful thing about it is, Kim, I actually by doing what we do at Figures and Faces, we give the business owner back to their business. They get to do what they love. And our tagline is, we'll do what we love so you can do what you love. People got into business for the first time for what they want to do.
Yeah.
And then they get bogged down. So as I say, at Figures and Faces, we've been spending the last 15 years or so helping people. We've pulled a couple back from the verge of insolvency. That's been really exciting to see that happen. That was just awesome. But most of the time we go in, we fix the mess, we teach them how to keep from making the mess again, because that's really important. And so that's us in a nutshell.
Well, those are some of the things that I want to talk about today with you. What do you find in general are the most common problems that small business owners have when, dealing with them?
Cash flow is a big one. That's first and foremost in most business owners' minds. There's usually not enough cash coming in to cover the cash that has to go out. And we put strategies in place to help a business rectify that.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to see something for your trouble. You want to be able to see a reward for all the effort and the blood, sweat and tears that goes into your business.
Absolutely.
So cash flow is a big one. And as a result of that, people don't get a chance to budget properly because they can't rely on their cash flow. Mm-hmm. And we've got strategies for that as well. So that's the biggest one. another problem that we usually come across is people not completely understanding where they're at with their business. They know that they're working these stupid long hours in some cases, just churning out the work that they do or providing the service that they're providing. And then it's like, well, where's all the money going? And they don't really understand, you know, what position their business is in on a financial point of view, you know. And so they're the two problems that we address, and we work really closely with the accountants of the business owners of our clients to address those issues.
Yeah, great. So in relation to cash flow, what are some of the tips that you could give our viewers today?
Okay, the first one,
earn more money.
Well, no, funny enough, I mean, yes, okay, that's an obvious one, but it's not necessarily the most important one. The most important one is to leave personal spending out of the business. Now, most business owners, this is particularly aimed at your sole traders that are listening today, and, you know, those partnerships where it's like, oh, just go down, oh, yeah, I'm a petrol, I'm just going to grab a drink off the, you know, on the business card, all of that, which is fine, but that kind of gets out of control. Or, oh, I haven't actually paid myself this month, so I'll just pay for that holiday out of the business because it's my money, right? Actually, no, it's not your money yet. So that's a big one on cash flow for small, particularly the sole traders and the partnerships. The ones that are set up as companies, it's a little bit different. Our workshops go into that. But so, yeah, leave personal spending away from the business. Draw a wage for yourself. So that's the one. That's the first thing. Be more aware of what you're spending. You know, be aware of those small daily purchases that get away on us. Follow up on overdue debtors weekly. Set either your bookkeeper or yourself. You set aside a particular time every week where you go, who owes me what money? Right, I'm going to ring them if they're overdue. That's a must. Only pay your bills, your wages and your supplies once a week. That's a big one for cash flow. Don't sit there throughout the week and put little dribs out here, there. If you're running payroll, you've got to do that once a week anyway. So pick that as your day to pay all your bills. That does two things. It allows you to build a little bit of a buffer, so you're no longer working those long hours and going, where the hell's all the money going? You can actually see it build up in the account, and that's really exciting because you've actually got it building up over it. Because customers aren't going to pay you on the same day every week. Your money's going to trickle in. If you let it trickle out, you're never going to see the benefit of it. Whereas if you let it build and you just set that one day to pay your wages and your bills and your suppliers, it's a better mindset because you're actually starting to feel the success of your business then, because you can see you've got that chunk there, and then you can budget with that. So that's another really key issue on managing your cash flow. Ask for deposits. So this is targeting that comment that you made earlier about earn more money. Get that money up front. Ask for deposits. If you are marketing an actual product that you manufacture, then ask for a payment, like a 50% payment before production commences. That way, you're not out of pocket. You actually use that money to buy the materials that you will then use to buy that to make the product. That way, you're not out of pocket. You're not using money that you haven't earned yet to create a product. If it's cancelled, then that's non-refundable because you've already purchased the product. So again, you're not out of pocket. You're out of pocket maybe wages, but it's not as big a loss. Right. So that's something to keep an eye on.
And certainly if you're purchasing materials for, you know, for that completion of the job, that helps with that.
That's exactly right. You ask for the funds up front for the materials. And you know, put a little bit on top of it, of course, but that's it. And if you're in a real pinch, then consider debtors finance. And that's an option, that's a last resort option, but for some businesses, that's what keeps them ticking over until they get to a point where they no longer need it. But that's one of our clients has debtors finance, and it does work extremely well for them because they've got a large volume of invoices. And some of their people take 45 days to pay because that's just the way it goes. So debtors finance can be a tool, not a crutch. but you need to use it wisely.
Yeah, and depending on how your business is structured and what kind of a product or service you provide anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's a terrific thing to move into, because debtors are the bane of all of our lives, obviously. And so what's your advice? I mean, you know, contacting them weekly, but do you have anything else to, you know, suggest to us that we can get out, you know, get the money coming in the door again?
Yeah, we take our lead from our service providers, things that are already in place in the marketplace. Yep. The electricity companies now are offering early payment discounts. You factor that into your price structure, of course, but you can offer an early payment discount so that if you work out what you can afford to shave off the profit of that particular service or goods that you're supplying.
Yeah.
Pay by, this is the due date, but if you pay by this date, you offer them a percentage discount. So that's something that you can implement.
That's true.
The other thing is you implement late payment fees. Telstra do it, Optus do it. If you don't pay your bill on time, the next bill they give you has the late payment fee on it. You work exactly the same way. You implement a late payment structure so that everybody knows that if you do not pay that bill, and if you have to chase them for payment, and this is the thing, you might waive that late payment fee because they paid you a couple of days late, or you haven't had to chase them. They've been late, but as soon as you've got to pick up the phone and ring a debtor to go, you haven't paid me, we need your money, blah, blah, blah. That's cost you time and money for the phone call. You've got to recoup that, and you recoup it by making a late payment charge on the next invoice.
And is that,
so that's what that's all about.
For that, Deborah, like a percentage of the bill, is that how that works?
It is usually a percentage of the bill for the discount it is, but no, you can put just a flat late payment fee, similar to, you know, Telstra or their telcos and things like that. So it's up to you. It would be a good idea for you to talk to your bookkeeper or your accountant for the exact percentages that you would use. Sure. I don't like in a broad sense like this to give, do a 2% or a 5%. You have to work out what's tailored best for you. But that's one tip. So, and again, consider debtors finance. So but they're the two main ones: the early payment discount and the late payment fees. So and follow up. Make sure you follow up.
That's terrific. I hadn't thought of either of those actually. It's good. So what other tips do you have? Because you work with a lot of companies, you know, in that rescue area, of course, and I'm not suggesting rescuing because we're all on top of it. However, you know, what other tips do you have for staying afloat and staying, you know, in the black with our cash flow?
Sure. The first thing is to be organised. If your books are a mess, your business is going to be in a mess. You won't know where you stand. So that's kind of a given. We offer workshops as part of our BAS compliance training, and it goes into how you can put systems in place that have worked for us and our clients for the last 15 odd years. And they're just basically simple tips on how to keep organised within your business. And it doesn't matter what kind of business you've got, as long as you've got a system in place to be organised, I guarantee that will reduce the incidences of your cash flow problems and make it easy for you to stay afloat, because you're able then to make proper business decisions about where your business is going if you know about what's happening. And that leads into my next tip, to be aware. Have the conversations with your bookkeeper, have the conversations with your accountant about where you're at. If you don't know how to read your balance sheet or your profit and loss report, if you don't know how to plan for a BAS that you know is coming up, then have those conversations with your bookkeeper and your accountant, you know, or contact me, because I'm happy to tell you all of those things. That's what we're trying to do here, clean up messes or stop them from happening again. So that's the other thing. So be organised, be aware, and be proactive. And by that I mean, if you've a system that's not quite working, you need to be willing to change it to a system that does work. And you need to be willing to do what it takes to make your business successful. And some it might just be a small change. Some people need a complete overhaul, and we're good at that too. So Be organised, be aware, and be proactive. They're my 3 main tips.
That's great. You know, bookkeeping is definitely not my thing. However, I do love seeing bank accounts, and I do love statistics, and you know, and counting on things. Like I actually live by that. It's interesting. But often we can feel overwhelmed, and I think, you know, we've got to take a step back from it, organise ourselves to then be able to go back in and get the advice from the professionals to make it work for us.
Exactly, yes. And remember, you're not alone, because these people are there. They're part of your business team. You know, one of the things that I love about the work that we do is each one of our clients, some of our clients have become friends, but not just that. It's about, they know that I have their business best interest at heart, which by default is their best interest, because that's their baby, you know, that's their love. They've built this. And if I come in and go, my loyalty is to the business, not to you personally. If I see you doing stuff that's going to affect the business, ultimately that's going to affect you. So I'm going to tell you, don't do this. It's not a good idea. And I will call them on it in that way. Your bookkeeper or your accountant should be doing that as well.
And if they're not, perhaps it's time to shop around, hey?
Yeah, I think so.
So that actually is, that's a really great, you know, segue into when we may not know how to read balance sheets and, you know, that kind of thing. We may be feeling the pressure of, you know, the cash flow not always being there. And I get there's some early warning signs and then some later warning signs that, you know, before. Yeah. Can you talk to us about that, please, Deborah?
Absolutely. Look, I've worked a lot with companies that have been, there's been a couple that have been on the brink of insolvency. There have been others that have been a mess. And if they continued on the path that they were going, I've actually said to people, you are not going to be here in 12 months' time if you do not change. So if you want your business to succeed, and I lay it on the line because this is their business, this is their livelihood. And I can't do them any favours by coddling them. So, but then when they go, okay, that's when it's like, okay, I'll train you how to do this. So what you need to do, first of all, is to look carefully at the systems that are currently in place in your business. If you're all a bit of a mess, or if you're a little bit at sea about what's happening, if you can't look at your business and go, no, I actually know where I'm at, and I know where I'm going, and I know how to get there, then you don't need us. But I don't know, I could probably count on one hand out of 10 how many businesses. There would be lucky to be 3 businesses out of 10 that would be in that situation. Then you make the necessary changes. You need to have that mindset that if it's not working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I get that. But if it's broken, you've got to try and work out what's gone wrong and fix that. Be prepared to grow slowly. So many people these days, they're like, but I want to do this and I want to do that. Well, that's lovely, you can, but be prepared to grow slowly. If it happens fast, then that's a bonus. But you've got to lay those foundations and make sure those foundations are solid. So that's how, you know, that's an advice on how to avoid it. And this is a big one, and this is a killer, and people do not like to hear this. Put your business needs, put your business needs, so the needs of your business, you put them before your personal lifestyle choices. So your business is not there to finance your holidays in Bali, your trips around Australia. Sorry. Your wage is there to do that. Absolutely. You do whatever the heck you want with the wage that you take from your business. But you have so many responsibilities as a business owner that you have to meet first. So you have to learn to budget in your personal life so you are not pulling down your business. And I have seen so many that have gone, I don't care, it's my money. Okay, that's fine, then I can't help you. And we'll see if you're still in business in 5 years. And the answer to that probably will be no. And, you know, we want longevity. We want our businesses to sustain that lifestyle for us, but we have to look after it before we can sustain that lifestyle. So that's a hard truth, and a lot of people are going blah, 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 and that's fine, but it's what works. It really is what works.
Yeah, it's terrific advice, and it's you know, I think in some ways when we come out of the corporate world, and, you know, some of us have been in business for a long time, but we do collapse the two worlds still, because we see it as, you know, that this is where I work, so this is you know, this is me, you know.
Yeah.
Difficult to separate the two. So
yes, it can be.
yeah. Over the years, you've obviously built up, you know, a really great business for yourself. What would be your tips for other people who want to grow their business in 2017?
Wow. Well, this is a tricky one because we have never advertised or done any kind of marketing prior to taking our business in a new direction. All of our bookkeeping clients have come purely from referrals. So my first tip is make sure you provide awesome service.
Yeah.
The person that is in front of you is the only person that matters at that particular time.
Yeah.
That if you need to take a phone call, or, well, for us at least, if you need to take a phone call or whatever, then, you know, you make sure that that person does not interrupt the person that you're in front of, you know, or sort of momentarily is what I'm saying. Go above and beyond. Most businesses, particularly the sole traders and tradies and the partnerships particularly, the bigger ones, sometimes get a bit lost in that.
Yeah.
But it's important to maintain that personalised service. As far as marketing goes, what I would suggest is to find what it is that you've got, what service or good that you have to provide, and who you actually want to target for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use platforms like LinkedIn or Facebook, or go along to business network meetings and things like that, to help you understand what's happening out in that world. And then that will help you market more efficiently as well. And if you know of someone and your accountant's a great place to start. Yeah. They are invaluable for helping you with the direction of your business. You know, they will be able to have strategies themselves. They may be able to say, well, you can invest in this and in this particular equipment, or then you will be able to add this to your, you know, products that you make or the services you provide. So don't just use your accountant once every year to do, you know, tax, or every quarter if he's the one or she's the one that lodges your BAS. They have a wealth of information.
Yeah.
Tap into that.
Yeah.
Tap into your accountant. Give them a call and go, hey, Jim, no, I only normally talk to you about blah, 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 but I've got this idea. Can we sit and have a meeting? And he'll go, oh, wow, you know, something other than tax and something other than BAS, you know. So use your accountants. They're a great source of information for that.
Yeah, that's terrific advice. Terrific advice. Now, over the years, you would have read a heap of books, I imagine. What has been your What's been your all-time game changer?
That's a toss-up. There's two that I've read them a long time ago, and it's interesting. You know how you read some books and then you think years later you should really go back and read them again?
Yeah.
I'm actually at that point now. There's one, and they are old books. There's one called The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason.
Yeah.
It's just a small book. You've heard of it, yeah.
I've read it.
The principles in that are amazing. Yeah, it's just, you know, you kind of go, oh my gosh, and it gets not just from a business point of view, from a personal point of view, and it's just so well rounded. So I don't know whether you kind of call that a business development or a self development. It's kind of a bit of both.
It is a bit of both,
and that's followed. Yeah, and that's followed closely by The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino.
Oh, okay.
And and it's funny enough. The title is a little misleading, but even like, you know, it's all about sales and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's actually about relationships, because that's how you make your sales, whether it be a product or a service. You make sales by building relationships. Yeah. And sometimes to do that, we have to step outside our comfort zone, and that's scary. So for me, stepping outside my comfort zone, reading those books caused me to have a really good look at certain behaviours that were perhaps inhibiting my ability to do a good job or be a good person or run a good business. And then that led me to take steps to make those changes, those behavioural changes, to the point where my business now has a couple of employees, and yes, they're family members, but they are legitimate. They work within the business doing, working for clients and event management and things like that. And it's been amazing, those books. It's not just about the business book, because anything you learn in that way, you can actually apply to any relationship, because that's the thing. It's not just about business. You're forming a relationship with your clients and with your customers. And so, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's terrific. I actually hadn't heard of that one, so I think I'll get my hands on that copy. And who would you say is your guru at the moment, Deb, or your mentor, your?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, at the moment, I'm tapping into the genius that is Julie Mason, the social media princess. She's been a big help with my business development. Over the years, I've pretty much tapped into the professionals that I was associated with through the course of the work that I'm doing. So in that case, it's always been the accountants.
Yeah.
Particularly if the client has come on board as a result of a referral from another client.
Yeah.
I would automatically contact very early in the piece, would contact their accountant and go, introduce myself and go, hi, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, my services have just been engaged, and let them know that I'm on the same team. Yeah. And I find out what their priorities are. How do you want the information presented? This is what I do. Are you happy with that? And then when the accountant started to call me going, we've got a client that we want you to work on, I was like, oh, wow, okay. And then I pick their brains, because it gives me license then, because I've got that relationship with the accountant. And the big thing, the really big thing, if you don't know something, don't pretend you know it. Ask somebody. There's no shame in saying, I don't know, I'll check that out and get back to you. That does less damage than pretending you know what you're talking about, cause a problem, and then you've got to go and fix it. Or worse, someone finds out that you've lied to them and that you really didn't know what you were talking about anyway, and you've charged them for the privilege. So, that's a big thing. And that works in regardless of what business you're in. If you don't know, admit it. And that's, that will help build a relationship as well, because people will respect someone who goes, I actually don't know, but I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
You prefer to hear that, don't you? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah, for being with us today.
Pleasure.
Bookkeeping. Everyone contact Deborah if you want some more tips and advice. She's available and running workshops as well, to get everyone up to speed. So thank you so much, Deborah, for being with us today. And we'll see you all tomorrow on Make Your Good Business Great. See you.